Congressman, nice to see you.
Good to see you, Greta.
A lot of activity here, even though it's rather late into the season.
It is. It's lame duck, and we should all be at home getting ready for Christmas, and instead we're still here causing mischief in Washington, D.C.
Well, I like to give all of you hell because, you're all, and I suppose I should be speaking to a Democrat that controls the agenda, but you all knew months ago, for instance, October 1 is going to roll around. Yeah, you didn't do a budget, still haven't done a budget, so it's not like we feel sorry for all of you still working.
No, people shouldn't feel sorry for us because our job was to pass a budget, pass a spending bill, pass a tax bill. None of that was done, and as you know, the tax compromise bill was just recently passed, and now we're looking at the spending bill, and I think later tonight we'll actually pass that one.
All right, so next year when it rolls around, the Republicans who will control the agenda, will you have things done on time?
Yes, we will.
I'm going to hold you to that.
And under budget.
And under budget?
And under budget.
All right, well, we're rolling on, so we'll be back here. All right, now, here's a number that I think you'll like. The Rasmussen reports 41% of voters think Tea Party will play a bigger role in next year's campaigns than 2010. You agree with 41% of the voters?
Yeah, I do. I do. I think that the voters showed up at the polls. They spoke very clearly this year, and I think that the Tea Party will be a big presence in the next election.
Why?
Well, because I think people want what the Tea Party is talking about, which is don't spend more money than what you're taking in, make sure that we don't raise anyone's taxes, and act within the bounds of the Constitution. Those are the hallmarks of the Tea Party caucus, and I think that's what people want us to do.
Do you think the Tea Party, though, is a little bit disenchanted, for instance, with the tax? Because I imagine that sort of the Tea Party ideology is a little bit that they want a tax extension for eternity.
Well, I think that there is a division of opinion, but I think for the most part the Tea Party was not in favor of the tax compromise, primarily because it wasn't paid for. That was the main concern that they had. And when you're looking at the 2% cut to the employee share of the payroll, that's an immediate $111 billion deficit that was blown open in the Social Security Trust Fund. And that's not good because that means you have to go to the General Treasury to get that money to pay those checks. And so that means instantaneous deficit spending.
All right, now you say the Tea Party wasn't in favor because there weren't the spending cuts. I take it, though, that the Tea Party movement would prefer to have the tax cuts extended even if there weren't the spending cuts. Am I wrong on that?
They would want to see the tax cuts extended so that no one's tax rates go up, but they also want to see us get serious about spending cuts.
All right, how does that happen? How are you going to get serious? I mean, we get lots of promises, but how does the American people get a commitment that there will be spending cuts?
Well, I think you'll see this coming out of the budget that Republicans have put forward, and it will be some serious cuts that we'll have to make. I think one place that we could begin is with Fannie Mae. That's the secondary mortgage company. Right now they have an unlimited credit card that they were given by the Treasury Secretary. There's been literally well over $100 billion that have been spent. We're continuing to spend money. We need to pull that credit card back.
All right, where is the oversight? I mean, we always hear about how much waste there is, but we haven't seen a terrific amount of effort to go out and actually collect that waste or even to have an oversight. Are we going to see something different with the new Congress?
You're going to see something very different. Darrell Issa is in charge of the Oversight Committee. You'll see very active, but each of the various committees also have an oversight provision. I'm seeking a seat on the Oversight Committee, for instance, on financial services. This is the committee that oversees the Federal Reserve. This is a big story that a lot of people are really only lasted one day, but I think we need to bring more attention to it. The Federal Reserve essentially backed up $3.5 trillion in spending, loans that were made to foreign banks, for instance, as well as U.S. companies. I think you'll see further investigation into that and into a lot of the obligations that the Federal Reserve made.
How can the American people be satisfied, though, because some oversight is political. It's to get your enemy. Some political oversight is to make sure that the government is accountable. How can we ensure that this is going to be good political oversight?
Well, people paying attention is the main thing. And I think, again, one good example was Harry Truman, who was a Democrat. Harry Truman was committed when he was president and before in his previous offices to make sure that he had fair and honest accounting books. I don't think anyone on either side of the aisle, Republican or Democrat, would say that Harry Truman was a crook. He was a fair and honest man. We need that from Republicans as well as Democrats to make sure that we have fair and honest accounting. And when Republicans are in charge, they need to open up the books, take a good look, and let the chips fall where they may. All
right, so give me an idea. We've seen a lot of boxes around here, people moving around. What's it like in the lame duck?
You can hear it too.
We can hear it as well. But I mean, how's lame duck different behind the scenes from the other part of the session?
If you want my real opinion,
Yeah.
the lame duck is awful. And in my opinion, it's also unconstitutional. The 20th Amendment that was passed back in about 1933 was meant to eliminate all future lame duck sessions. The Congress didn't want to see happen what's happening now. I mean, consider, we're doing all of the spending, the tax bill, we're doing a nuclear disarmament treaty, don't ask, don't tell. They're trying to do amnesty for illegal aliens. All of this in a couple of weeks. In other words, a whole year's worth of work after voters already spoke at the polls. And so the people spoke. They don't want this spending. They don't want what's being passed in Congress. We shouldn't be doing this, and it's really against the 20th Amendment to the Constitution.
Well, that's because you all didn't do it before the election.
Right.
Well, I mean, like, why weren't the Republicans screaming a little bit more? I mean, there was some effort.
I was.
Okay, well, you were. How were you screaming? How were you screaming?
I was screaming. I was screaming in editorials, in town hall meetings, in various newspaper accounts where I wrote articles. That's what we need to do, is let the people know what's going on. And I think because we were so effective speaking out in the media, people were educated and they showed up at the polls, and the Tea Party spoke loud and clear. It really is phenomenal, Greta, and you've talked a lot about it on your show, the level of spending that's gone on here in Washington that's not paid for.
But that's not even, the spending is one issue. With waste, nobody's even talking about waste. I mean, I don't mean forget spending, but the waste issue gets completely ignored.
Well, it won't, though, under oversight. You made the right statement, and that's what we have to do with oversight. Oversight will look backwards, but it also needs to look currently at what we're spending as well. And again, I believe whether it's a Republican administration or Democrat, we've got to look very carefully, because the Tea Party, as you know, is not Republican or Democrat. It's really people who want the country to work. They're very practical people, and they want the country to work.
But they're a little bit of thorn in the side of the sort of establishment GOP.
That's okay. I think
I
think that's a good thing, because we got to keep them honest. Basically, I consider the Tea Party the keep them honest crowd, and I think we all could do well with that.
All right. Now the chatter about Congresswoman Michele Bachmann. Behind the scenes, everyone's saying you're running for the United States Senate. Yes or no?
Not so. I'm here doing my work.
No, or is that maybe, or but that's what people are saying. People are asking and wondering.
They're asking. I just flew into Washington, D.C., and I was told that's the #1 question that's coming into the office today. It's nothing that I have thought about, because I had a very tough race winning this time, and all I'm focused on right now are committee assignments. I'm really excited. I just found out I was put on the Intelligence Committee. I'm very thrilled about that, and hopefully I'll be in the Oversight Committee dealing with financial services. We got enough work to do, and I want to focus on that for the next 2 years.
One last question. Brett Favre, your Minnesota Vikings quarterback, got hurt.
He did, and that was so sad. It's really changed the season for us. We were thrilled that he signed up and that he was our quarterback. He's a quarterback in a lot of ways, one on the field but also behind the scenes. He really is a great captain, if you will, of the whole team, and he's done a good job, I think, trying to hold us all together.
Come back for another year?
Now that, I don't know. We'll see. But he's a man of many talents. We'll see.
Congresswoman Bachmann, thank you very much for joining us.
Greta, thank you.